Good morning, everybody. What's happening? What's going on? And what's up to my man Howard? How you feeling
Oh,
today,
it's
my brother?
it's another Monday. It's all good after a big
Yes.
weekend.
Woo, big weekend of sports. We're gonna get into the WNBA on the end because we got some things we got to talk about that
Hmm.
as well. But what I want to start off with, and it's big, and the main reason it's big is because it's dealing with the freedom of the press.
Hmm.
And that's the canceling of Late Night on CBS, Stephen Colbert. Now, you and I are probably thinking the same thing, and I'm wondering, do you think that it was because, or it's a part of that settlement that Paramount has with the occupant?
I do. I believe there were a bunch of things happening at the same time, and that the influence of what's going on with the merger and Trump and all of that, and definitely played a part in it. I think there's some other things, some legitimate business things, and I'll get into that. But I do. I would be naive not to think that the Trump administration didn't have some influence on it. Didn't it made it easier for CBS to make that decision, I believe.
In terms of some of the business aspects of it, what are some things that are probably dictating this move? Because, I mean, this has been the number one late night show for the past 6 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been number one, but it's been number one in a dying time slot, in a dying format. So while it doesn't, when you say, "Oh, CBS canceled the number one late night show,"
Hmm.
that sounds aberrant. It sounds crazy. Why would they do that?
Right,
But
right,
but
right.
and there are reasons for doing that. Some political, but the business reasons, I believe, is that I think that most of broadcast television wants to get rid of the late night show format.
You think so? You think so? Mm.
I think it is. No, let me take that back. Well, yes, I do. I think
All
they want
right.
to take those out because I think they want to. They're just too cost. They don't return. There's no return on investment. I think traditionally they like to keep that spot. So they would love to. So I think that's what's keeping the Tonight Show in place. That's what was keeping late night in place because of the legacy of just the late night brand.
Right,
But
right,
but
right.
I don't believe that. In fact, from what I've Googled and the sources that I found, say that all of those things, the Tonight Show, late night, Kimmel, all of them are losing money.
Mm, mm,
And so, according to what I saw, so
mm,
yes, I believe that this is something that CBS. I think they use this as a good reason to get out now. And
mm.
the scuttlebutt in the business is on the business
Yeah.
end is that, and I can see them doing this. They want to. Again, this is just rumor, but
Hmm.
they've been talking about trying to put some sort of comedy show that is
Mm.
somewhat created through AI in that spot to make it just very cost effective. I mean, they don't want to. The late, you probably, well, I didn't realize this until now. The late show has 200 people to put on, 200 employees. Um,
They got 200 people that are working the show. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah.
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 All right.
200 people
Okay.
that work there, and besides the production value and the guests, and they put the guests up. I'm sure it's very expensive to run that show.
Yeah.
And I just don't
And
think it's
every day, and every
every
day
day,
as
every
well.
day. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's pulling
Yeah.
that. Now, that said, I think what's going on in media now is you have, because of the Trump administration, and some of the ways they've gone about trying to suppress the free speech, and also especially things that don't express support for their agenda.
Right.
They
Right.
want to shut that stuff down. So I think that CBS was well aware of how much the Trump administration does not like Stephen Colbert or the content on the Late Show. So while they were doing getting things in line, because I think also CBS is trying to move more to the right. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious to me.
Well, I think that's because of new ownership and the people that are taking over.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Which is sad. Which is
So,
very sad.
so,
Yeah.
so, yes, I think this was a political move. I don't think they would have canceled Colbert if the money, if the, regardless of the politics, if the show made money. But the show doesn't make, and even though it's number one, the show, from what I can see, doesn't make money, and so they thought that this was something. I don't know. Now, again, maybe this is my naivete. I'm I don't think necessarily the Trump administration said we want you to cancel that show, but I sure do know that the people who were at CBS knew that they would love the fact that they canceled it, and I think they're trying to get on the good side of the Trump administration.
I hate when I hear that. I hate when
By some of their by some yeah. Well, this was what I believe. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I hate when, this thing where everybody's trying to kowtow to this guy, and it ticks me off.
Yeah,
And
no, it's terrible.
Yeah, and what you're saying about the money, I can kind of see that as the case, especially in this day when you have podcasts, like you got all that smoke and you got all the, like you said, return on investment,
Right.
all that smoke. They get 35 million views for for a guest or whoever. 35 million views, that's making money for the podcast. But when you got to probably spend out maybe what, $1 million just to produce one show,
Right.
maybe more,
Well,
with Late Night with Colbert,
right.
and then you look at the reach that the podcasts are having, so it kind of makes it like, all right, that could be the case in terms of the money aspect and
Something
the
else
return.
that I understand that the Late Show was a little bit behind some of the others. Like I said, in as far as ratings are concerned, live ratings, it's the number one show in late night. Now, as far as its profitability, I think all the shows are losing money. But one thing that Kimmel and Fallon do well, their teams do well, much better than they were doing at the Late Show, is that you probably notice on social media, you see a lot of Jimmy Kimmel and a lot of Fallon clips.
Yes, you do.
And they're making that money on social media, for those things. And I just didn't see that from the Late Show so much. So
Well, I see Colbert clips as well, but I don't see him as much as Jimmy Kimmel.
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
So I think that they also are a little bit behind on that ulterior, that other income. But yeah, I definitely think it was ultimately political reasons why they felt why it was easy to make that decision for them.
A lot of people, it's hard to get them to see that point. But when you look at what this guy is doing, always suing, and you look at CBS, the home of 60 Minutes, Walter Cronkite, that's the way it is. This attack on the First Amendment and everything that's going on with Epstein, all of this, it just seems as if this is all in the same bag.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And then don't forget with those law firms. Now, this is something that was up in the air, but I believe they knew exactly what they were doing. Those law firms that settled with Trump, the ones that, when he was trying to sue them or bring cases against them, and they settled with him, and they said that they were going to do this pro bono work.
Right.
Okay. Now, the way it was phrased, so I understand, was they were going to do pro bono work for causes that the Trump administration wanted to back. They didn't say what the causes were, though. And the causes may be Donald Trump, which probably are. So not only do media companies have to consider their decisions based on the Trump administration's ability to stop them from merging with other companies or doing certain things they want to do, but they also have to take into consideration that I believe the Trump administration believes that they're sitting on all this legal help, millions of dollars of legal help that they don't have to pay for. So if you have to go to court against the Trump administration, and it's a
Are you
civil
talking about
case.
the legal help? You talking about the DOJ? You talking about that's the legal help?
No, no, no.
It,
I'm not talking about
uh,
the DOJ. I'm talking about the
okay,
private law firms. The
okay,
private
gotcha.
law firms
Okay,
that Trump had
gotcha.
settlements with, that he
Uh,
said that they were going to do pro bono work. Now, the pro bono work at the time
gotcha,
sounded
gotcha.
like, oh, if Trump, if some charity Trump was backing needed legal help or something. But that's not
Mm,
what it is. I don't believe. I think he
right.
thinks he's sitting on millions of dollars of free legal help that he can use by some of the best firms in the country if, in fact, say CBS was going to like sue Trump. That I think he
Mm,
believes he can go to those law firms and say, okay, now we're going to use you to do this case. So, or to represent our side of the case. So it's messed up. I mean, I agree with you.
that would be a clear. That would be a clear conflict of interest if they were to do that in that manner. Let's say, for instance, he wants to use these people to sue. He said CBS want to sue CBS. This is before the deal,
Mhm.
and they got these lawyers. These lawyers could also be working for NBC or an associate or a corporation that's a sponsor or buys a ton of advertisement on one of these corporations. I
Well,
don't see how you can get all of these. I hear what you're saying,
no,
but
no, but
but
that happens all the time. That happens. I
mm,
hear what you're saying,
yeah,
and depending on how large those clients are, would decide whether the firm there is a conflict of interest. But I
okay.
guarantee that you use your. Let me use your example. Like
No,
some they have a client who's suing CBS, but yet
mm,
they represent NBC and some other
mm,
things. They probably handle it just the same way you handle it in like real estate. They are going to assign an attorney to the CBS case, and they'll
mm,
assign a team of attorneys to handle NBC's concerns. And they're supposed to be what is called in the business a Chinese wall in between them, so that they don't, so there is no conflict of interest.
yeah, but that's
They work for the
bullshit.
same firm, but they're
Hmm.
different teams.
Right.
Now, uh, back in the day when laws meant something and ethics, that usually worked.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, we live in times now where that stuff is eroding every day. So,
Yeah.
there probably will be a conflict of interest. So,
No matter what you and I say today, and we try to get them to look at that aspect about them losing money, most people are not going to see that. They're going to say, hey, the media has the power. Whenever that dude says he's going to sue, they should be like, okay, see you in court, because Discovery shuts down a lot of his nonsense.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and I don't understand why that approach isn't the approach. Well, Wall Street Journal and New York Times, they're starting to do that. But
Mhm.
I don't understand why everybody else isn't doing that.
Well, I think some of it is economic. That's what private citizen Trump used to do all the time,
Yeah,
because he knew that you weren't willing. You may not even have the resources to defend yourself, or you may not
right,
be willing
right.
to spend the resources to defend yourself. So
Yeah,
therefore, you'll just settle, or you'll
right.
back down. And I think that's what he's counting on here.
I mean, look, Fox pays $787 million. So they got the cash. So and right now they don't seem to be. Rupert Murdoch seems to be a little, you know, upset, and he's trying to stand firm on that. And I'm kind of bugging off of that. I kind of find it very interesting. I really want to see how that plays out.
Well,
But
I do too because Trump. See, I think what we all knew, or people who
mm,
see Trump for who he actually is, understand about him is that this
mm.
guy is a true narcissist. This guy is
Yeah, he is.
a true. This isn't just some description we're just saying as an insult or something. This guy is the case study, I
Right,
believe, for the
right.
so as time goes on, he is going to start. We're watching now him throwing people. He threw his base under the bus.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
part
did.
of
I
it,
mean, he told them. He said, "F you." He said,
yeah, he
"Oh,
said
he
they were
said,
stupid.
yeah." He said,
He
"He's
threw
stupid." I said, "Wow."
the conspiracy theorists under the bus, and now he's going to little by he's like trying to you know show I think he's trying to test the links of his power, to see exactly how far he can push this thing, because I'm pretty convinced if he's telling the truth, I think that Trump has pushed this thing farther than he even thought he could do it.
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
was really concerned about going to jail at one time.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago, I think he was when Biden. That was one reason why he was so freaking freaked out about losing that election, because I
Yeah.
thought that he
He knew he knew he fucked up,
right. He
and
knew he fucked up
yeah,
and all that
yeah,
stuff. So he got now. I think he feels like, as like I say to people all the time, then they say, "I can't believe Trump's doing that." I'm like, why? He doesn't
yeah.
get. He has.
Yeah,
There's
when
no reason
people
he
say
should.
that, I bug out. What do you mean you can't believe he's doing that? This is
I'm
stuff that he said he would do. You
look
know what?
now.
Yeah.
Even if I'm a Trump advisor,
All right.
I'm not telling him to put the brakes on nothing. I'm like, if he wants to try something, go for it, because you've done everything. He's done everything and gotten
Yeah.
away with it. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, you're on a roll, Chief.
You know what? And it's amazing once again how this Epstein situation is creating all this chaos
Mm-hmm.
that he is like seem to be losing control over. Because if he's pissing off Rupert and he really pushes into to a point where Rupert is like, all right, everybody office meeting. He brings everybody in Fox and says, call out his bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That would be wild.
That would be
And
wild.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen, but
I don't think it's going to happen. But I think they might
try to put him in his place.
try to put him in his place. Yeah.
I mean, I
So,
think one of the big ironies. I mean, this is what I used to say to people also about Trump, when Trump got elected in 2016.
mhm.
I think if I look back on the biggest irony about Trump is that Trump could have gone down as probably one of the coolest presidents we ever had.
If he wasn't an asshole.
If he wasn't, yeah.
If he wasn't an
If he
asshole.
thought,
Yeah.
I thought, I was hoping when he got elected in 2016 that all of my suspicions of him being so evil was wrong. Obviously, I was correct. But
Yeah.
I thought, I was like, what if he just was this dude, this superficial rich kid who thought he wanted to be president one day and put a bunch of gold in the Oval Office and do all that? That's what I thought. I was like, man, if this dude is that president, he might get away with this. I mean, people would have liked him, if he just was that. But no, he couldn't do that. So I think now he's like, trying to see how far he can push this thing. And I think, with this Murdoch thing, I think he might have. We'll see. We're
going to see. We're going to see.
We'll see.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see. But talking about the occupant's character and who he actually is, he's a racist. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching Bill Maher, and he has John Leguizamo on the show, and I'm sitting there listening to it, and Bill Maher says to John Leguizamo that the occupant is just a product of his time. And when I heard him say this, I said, this is when John Leguizamo should have said to this fool, what the fuck do you mean he is a product of his time? Because Bill Maher has this thing where I don't like Bill Maher. I think he's a fucking racist.
Yeah.
I think he's an asshole. I think he's a condescending, cynical MF. And so watching this, I'm sitting here saying, okay, that's the type of guy that the brothers are talking about when it comes to these so-called Dems who are supposed to be on our side, but that guy is a fucking fake. And John Leguizamo just didn't call him out on that, man. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, my brother?
I didn't. I saw the clip of that part.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I don't watch Club Random. I don't like Bill Maher either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to watch the real time all the time just because I used to like the guests that come on there. And every so often I'll catch a clip or two on YouTube. But I stopped watching Bill Maher regularly probably 3-4 years ago. Yeah. And I really don't like him. But I watched that one time I tried to watch Club Random. He had Greg Gutfield on there. Okay. Greg Gutfield's the dude for those of you who don't know, who is on Fox News the 5, and then he has a show on a late night show called Gutfield in which he thinks,
Talking
apparently,
about that little round dude, right?
yeah, he thinks he's a comedian. He's
Yeah. He
comedian
needs
type
to.
thing.
Yeah, he needs to be put in his place.
He gets a well,
Somebody needs to call him an
well,
asshole
well,
directly in his
well,
face.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
So when I watched Club Random and I saw this dude on there, I was like, what in the world? And um, I looked up Greg Gut. Let me find out something about Greg Gutfield.
All right, go ahead.
Greg Gutfield went to Cal Berkeley. See, he is the type. This is the type of white dude this guy is. He's the guy I really don't like. He went to Cal Berkeley, studied English. Okay. Now he calls himself a libertarian. Now, why? Well, there was a long thing on. Well, there was a little blurb on Wikipedia, but I'll boil it down to this. He doesn't like liberals because he doesn't like the sensitivity of liberals. Basically, I guess liberals have too much of conscience, and he didn't like conservatives because he thought they were like too pious and too come from a place of this type of stuff. So he decided he's going to be a libertarian. Now these are the worst kind of white people, if you ask me, because this is the bastion of white privilege. This is what libertarianism is all about. White people. It means they're like, oh, no government and rule of law is necessary. Because it's the unnecessary burden, and this is where Bill Maher is right now. See, this is why I'm bringing this up. Bill Maher and Greg Gutfield are the same dudes. Bill Maher is this guy who here's the other type of dude who I can't stand. While it was cool in the from about 1980 to I would say even to about 2010, when it was cool to be the white guy who likes black women and goes out and like knows a little rap and
Bill
does that
Maher.
stuff and hangs out with a few brothers. That it was cool then. So he was all down with that, and that buttered Bill Maher's bread for a long time. He built wealth off of that. Being down with Obama and down with the brothers and all of that. Now he's like, he's been rich for a while, but now he's rich. He's rich. Okay. HBO. He has an HBO show, from what I understand too, not because HBO likes the demographic it pulls. So or it has been pulling. So that's why he has that job. It's not like it does gangbuster numbers. HBO just wants to be able to have access to that demographic. So that's why that pulls them over. And they found also, because I've done some research on this, they found that a lot of their subscribers subscribe to Max or HBO or whatever you want to call it because of Bill Maher's show. They want to see that show. If it weren't for the show, they said they wouldn't have subscribed. So that's why he's on there. So good for him.
Gotcha.
But he's one of these guys. Maher's one of these guys who he's at a point now where he likes to rationalize Trump. He wants
to normalize.
He wants to normalize and rationalize. Oh, he's just this grumpy old man, product of his time. Blah blah blah.
That's when I want him to shut the fuck up.
Totally contradictory to what he was saying before. See, because the bottom line is not only is Bill Maher rich, I believe, and I don't know Bill Maher, and I don't mean this. I'm not trying to slander him or drink in the mud. This is just my opinion. Bill Maher's a coward. Bill Maher is a fake.
I endorse that.
He's a fake statement and a coward. He's not. He doesn't stand for anything except for Bill Maher's career and how can Bill Maher make money. In my opinion, that's why Bill Maher is such a staunch. Now, again, I don't know the guy. I might not know what I'm talking about, but I know about business. He is a staunch. I don't mind people that are supporters of Israel. We're going to get into some of this stuff later. I don't mind people that are supporters of Israel, and in fact, I have nothing against a state of Israel or this, but Bill Maher is like deeply Islamophobic. He's has a deep hatred for them, and I don't know where that comes from, other than the fact that I know a lot of the producers that run his shows are big Zionists. And so I think he just Bill Maher is all about his money and his career. That's what I believe. I don't believe that he has any type of conviction about anything other than how to make money. And right now, the money is on the side of MAGA, and that's where he's going. And that's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's where Bill Maher is. He's one of those guys that whenever you try to talk about the atrocities in Gaza, he immediately tries to say that you're pro-Hamas. And I hate when he does that,
Right.
because he's just totally ignoring the fact. Him, and also you got Joe Scarborough.
Uh-huh.
Uh, He, Joe Scarborough going to kiss the ring of that guy after all the crap we've talked about the past 4 years. That's the same type of mentality that Maher has, trying to rationalize, trying to normalize. But I think a lot of this comes from up top, people with MSNBC. And you had Tiffany Cross, who was on MSNBC. Now she's got her own podcast. And she was talking recently about her interactions with Joe Scarborough and how he is the one that probably got her kicked off the show.
Oh.
Yeah. Basically, because it was a situation where it was 2022. They're on the show, they're talking, and she's disagreeing with him. She's disagreeing with Joe. You know how that guy is. You try to say something. You saw what happened with my man Michael Steele was calling him out.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. And so Joe, okay, Michael can do that because Michael can probably kick my ass. But I'm not letting this black woman come on my show. And because of that, you have a situation where she said that led to her contract not being renewed and she not staying with the show. And she had like the biggest show on the weekend.
Uh-huh.
So those guys right there get on my nerves. They do because they're fake. I know a couple of people like that. They're real buddy with you and all that. But when it comes down to the meat in terms of our rights and everything, they always make an excuse for their white male counterparts. And for the brothers out there who are talking about these guys and the liberals, I agree with you on that. You hear me, man? I agree with you on that. That guy, those guys right there, they ain't for us. No. I agree. I'm not talking about those guys that are in the Democratic Party on the left. I'm talking about the others, the people that are actually doing stuff for us. But Bill Maher, Joe Scarborough, they can go to hell. That's, well, that's my opinion on it, man. Yeah.
When somebody, there's certain things, let me try to think of something, okay, if there was somebody who was a Nazi, or somebody who was just by their actions and deeds were obviously anti-Semitic, hardcore, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I might meet with that person like in an interview situation to talk to them. In fact, I would welcome that situation. But I'm not going to break bread with them like he did with. I'm not going to the White House. I'm sorry. Trump, I know he's the president, but I'm not going to go sit down across from Kid fucking Rock. Another clown. That's the other thing. Dude, that's another look. This is where I'm like, dude he wants so badly to get. See, this is what this was about. We're talking about Bill Maher and what's his name? Joe Scarborough.
Yeah.
Those guys were so worried that you see those skits about the black card. They were so worried their white card was going to be taken away that they were like had to go and sit in front of Trump and say, "I'm still good, right? I mean, I'm still white, right? You know what I mean? I'm still we're down." And that's what that was. And so I don't care. You can rationalize it any way. I'm just a regular human being who deals with just norms and mores. And I'm telling you now, if you sit down and break bread with my enemy and then come back and tell me he's an all right person, you're not my friend. You are not. You can go meet with them. You know what I mean? You can have a meeting and talk it out, and you can tell me what your input is. But if you go, and I'm telling you, as soon as you all start eating food together that he serves at your house, I have nothing to do with you. I can't trust you anymore.
I'm with you on that. And that's the way I feel about it. That's why when I hear people say they got friends who are that, that support that guy, I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? How is that person a friend of yours? They're supporting a guy who's looking to take away not only your rights away, but they're looking to just push us back. Nothing that he's doing is good for us.
Right.
He's an evil person. He's a racist. You see what he's throwing a 15-year-old kid was in Alligator Alley. I mean Alligator Alcatraz.
Auschwitz, I call it.
Yeah, for like 3 days. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So and so when I hear somebody say that, I'm like, no, we ain't down, man. We're not cool with that. So it bugs me. And then you also got the brothers, the redheaders, Candace Owens, and then you got Van Jones and Stephen A. straddling the fence. And they trying to do what Joe and Bill does. And you got Stephen A. He's up there hanging out and breaking bread with
Yeah.
Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
I'm like,
but see,
and
Stephen
Sean Hannity. I'm sitting there like, what the fuck?
he's another one.
What the fuck is this problem, man?
He's like Bill Maher. He's
Mhm.
made it clear to me, at least, just like Bill Maher. He made it clear to me that your priority is your career.
Yeah,
Is your what you do, making money in media by any means necessary
yeah,
is your focus. So that's what it is. But
yeah.
you can't be that and also say you're down for the people. You're not.
Yeah, they say that, and then they try to say, well, you should be able to sit down and talk. And no, this is the big one that Stephen A. says a lot. He said, we should give the man a chance. I'm like, Stephen A., you idiot. You saw what he did at the National Black Journalists Association when he sat up there in that farce with the homegirl Faulkner. Stephen A. says crap that I'm like,
crazy stuff. But for black folks,
he went to an HBCU.
Right. Yes.
He played under one of the most legendary coaches in the game, Big House Games.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he's up there freaking selling us out, saying stuff. When he says we should give him a chance, and he says that I think he's trying to be serious. I'm like, do you realize how insulting you stating that is from what we already know? I'm like, Stephen A., do yourself a favor. You got the money. Is a part of your contract to go in here and influence politics in this manner? Because if it is, I'm going to have a lot to talk about down in this fool in the future. And he's talking about he wants to run for president? Yeah. Man, he ain't getting no votes.
The thing with, there's a lot. There is a multitude of reasons to not like Donald Trump for those of us who are inclined to do that.
Right.
But for black folks, this is my answer to someone like Stevie Day and all of them is that, you don't even have to, you can point out all these different things, but all I know is that the only black president, but the first one in my lifetime, maybe I'll see another one. This guy went to the mat, to the mattresses, as they say, to try to prove that he was not a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
This was important to him. This was so important to him that he lied about it several times, but supposedly went just with it. Now, if that isn't and came up with nothing, and if that is not enough to let you know that this guy's a freaking racist, then what's the problem? I just don't understand why. You don't have to even like Obama. You don't even have to be liberal. Right. You can be a conservative black person. But as soon as somebody tries to discredit another black person unfairly just because they're black, then I support that black person. If you tried to do that with Clarence Thomas, I'd have a problem. And I hate that dude. Yeah. But if there's somebody going around saying a white racist guy, a white guy especially, who was around saying, wait a minute, Clarence Thomas was born in Zambia. He's not
Yeah, I'd be like, look, I hate the motherfucker.
I hate him, but dude,
that's not true.
That's not true.
That's
not true.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
don't try to take away. That's not true.
Yeah, there's enough bad stuff about Clarence Thomas where you don't need to even embellish or lie about anything. And I'm with you. I know,
but I'm just saying. That's that type of stuff. That's the type of thing.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. I like that example because that really right there happens a lot of times. It's like it was a situation where you remember when Kobe Bryant died. You remember when Kobe, and they're announcing it, and they had that woman on the news station. She was getting ready. They kept trying to say she was about to say the N-word. She was about to say the Los Angeles Knicks,
Yeah,
right?
I remember.
Yeah, but she said Naker, right? Yeah, she called herself, but everybody was sitting there. Yeah, you know, she wanted to say the N word. She said it right there. I said, dude, that's Knicks and Lakers. There's no that's A. That's not eh.
Yeah,
It's A. It's not
yeah,
eh. I had to keep going over that with brothers. I said, look, there's enough stuff out there to be upset about
yeah,
than to make up some crap that
yeah.
ain't there.
I mean, that's what I mean. To
Yeah,
me, I thought, yeah, I know some people got really excited about it. To me, it was
yeah,
funny. I mean,
yeah,
I had to laugh.
yeah,
I have to laugh because that's a terrible mistake to make for a white person in public.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
terrible. That's
And especially under those
under those
circumstances,
circumstances, right?
yeah.
Right.
We
So I
lose.
just, I
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
damn.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, look, our brothers were getting upset with me because I wouldn't agree to him. I'm like, dude, I'm know what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
she didn't say that. You gotta look. You got enough racists and assholes out here that are doing more than enough.
Right.
And when I heard that, I sit there and trip. I said, man, wow. I mean, yeah, people are assholes, but no need to embellish. It's like Michael Rappaport. I saw him with, I think I sent you the clip of that. And Michael Rappaport is there with Cuomo.
Mm-hmm.
And Rappaport is bashing Mamdani. And everything he was saying about Mamdani was a lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's trying to talk about that Mamdani supports the globalization of Intifada.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't. He said that. He's even talked on why people say he wouldn't condemn it. He said he's not going to condemn somebody's free speech. Now, the orange guy says something like that, everybody's going to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you listen to everything that Mamdani said, I'm with him on that. This dude is doing nothing but listening to the people and delivering them what they want and wants to deliver them what they want. But you got Michael Rappaport. I thought he was supposed to be on the side, but he's another one of those guys that's hardcore. He's on there talking about everybody's against the Jews, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, dude, that's not the case, man.
Yeah.
Look, I said, Michael, you can pass for white. In fact, you was in a movie where you passed as a Nazi. So I mean, when I heard what he was saying, I really wanted to tell Michael. I said, "Yo, what the fuck is your problem, man?"
I think I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah,
and I used to, enjoy some of his posts because he used to go off on Trump all the time.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But after the October 7th, I hope I get that correct. Yeah, after October 7th, the Hamas attack in Israel, he changed.
Woo! Yeah,
he changed. And this is what I think. And I'm not cutting him any slack because I agree. He says a bunch of stuff now that is not, I don't agree with. I don't think it's true. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't mean I don't agree with. I mean, there's some stuff, you're entitled to your opinion about things, but like you said, the stuff he was saying about Mamdani's platform is incorrect.
Yeah.
But the thing that I think has happened with him is I think he's one of these, and I know I'm always trying to, I'm not making excuses for people. I'm just trying to keep everybody human. That's all. And I just think Michael Rappaport is one of these dudes. Well, first thing, we all have to remember, because you mentioned him before about he was in Higher Learning, and he's been in some Spike movies. It's like Michael Rappaport was another one of those guys who'd like to hang out with brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
my man made a movie about A Tribe Called Quest.
I was going to say, he did that.
He was like, so he wasn't, while he never hid from it, tried to hide his Jewishness, he didn't wear it on his sleeve. Not like he's doing it now. Now I get it though. Something terrible happened to his people.
Yeah, I'm with that.
And he got all excited about it. But to me, a little bit, it's like, I want to say to him when I'm looking at some of these posts, I'm like, look, whoa, hold it. I get it. You're Jewish. I get it. You're proud of your people. I get it.
Right.
Slow down though, man, because it's not like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, so he's like, like what he was saying on that clip he sent me about the correct use of Zionism. That this is what drove me up. Now, I'm not even going to say I know the correct use of Zionism. I tell you what my use of Zionism means, and it's a little bit more. He was saying it's just somebody who believes in Israel's right to have a state. That might be the definition of it. I tend to believe it's for me. It's a little bit more emphatic than that. You want Israel to have a state, regardless of the means to have it for that to happen. And in fact, you don't care what happens to the Palestinian people as long as Israel has their state. Now that's my definition. I'm not saying that's true, but what I got mad about him.
Well, that sounds more like your perception of it from where they say this one thing, but you're seeing them take it further.
Right. So we're talking about. But where I got mad with Michael Rappaport is how many times you heard that dude use woke incorrectly? How many times you heard him talk about woke people in the wrong way? And so I'm like, dude, don't correct me on Zionism when you up here woke's falling out of your mouth all the time and you try to use it as a slur against people that are progressive. I was like, don't even come on, man.
Right.
So I have problems with Michael Rappaport, but I think that he's another one of these people who is he's a marginal celebrity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not going to be headlining any movies or anything like that. I'm sure he gets a lot of money, or I kind of feel like a significant amount of his income right now is coming from social media. So the thing about social media thing is you got to get those clicks. You're trying to get that stuff, and so I think he started getting traction with this pro-Israel, anti-Palestinian stuff. Yeah. And he's just kept it rolling.
He's like, I'm gonna stay with this.
He's kept it rolling, but it's very destructive. That's all.
It is very destructive, and it shows, once again, going back to the brothers that talk about guys like that. It shows how brothers look at guys like that and say, "Yo, he can't be trusted. Look at him going back and forth. He can't be trusted." And when they talk about the use of the word Zionism, one of the things that I trip off of is when they say anti-Semitic. Now, somebody told me this years ago, and I had to look it up. Anybody, Arab, anybody from that era, that region of the world is Semitic.
Right. Well, that's true.
I mean, that's the now way they've pushed it. That's their thing. But the general definition is somebody who is somebody is from the Middle East of that heritage, both both Muslim and Jewish.
Yeah.
And you try to talk about things like that, and people don't want to hear. They say, don't know what you're talking about. But you can even show it to them,
They're both descendants of Abraham. That's what this whole thing came down. That's what this whole thing has been. That's the other thing I tell people when they're like, "Oh, we need peace in the Middle East." I'm like, dude, then in peace in the Middle East, that predates the freaking New Testament.
Yeah. I said that ain't gonna happen. I said
it's like
it's like the Hatfields and the McCoys. Until you get somebody willing to just say, okay, enough is enough, let's be friends. It's not gonna happen, because everything that they say is their fault on this side, is their fault. I mean, y'all both did those two things to each other. I hear you. But when are we going to try to move forward? And so when you got Michael Rappaport just being angry about that. Then you got Bill Maher, Joe Scarborough, these guys that seem to be before basically 24 to be on our side. And you got Cenk Uygur with the Young Turks. This dude, I don't know what he's doing, but he's just totally flip-flop. And look, brother's got a point. How can you trust somebody like that? How can you believe that they're, really, really trying to be on your side and help you with your fight?
Well, I think that's what I think this is what Trump and the people, the inner circle of the MAGA movement totally understand. And I think Vladimir Putin understands it the best. I to tell you the truth. But and also Xi Jinping understand is that we're in a capitalism in a capitalist society like ours is. Money is king.
Right.
Money is king, and everybody, unfortunately, everybody has a price. It seems most everybody, most I go down. Most everyone has a price.
Yeah.
Now, heaven forbid that I become a Bill Maher one day, but I'm here to tell you that I don't know if I'm immune. I'd like to believe I am. I really would, but I don't know how much Bill Maher makes when he makes millions of dollars a year.
Annually,
Yeah,
Bill Maher from that show, annually he's making 10 million
yeah,
a year. Yeah.
yeah,
So, and
yeah.
that's not including the other things that he's probably making with his
Yeah, he's
podcast and
touring. He's
all that.
touring all
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, my
Yeah.
man,
So,
but this he made enough money so he could brag about giving Obama $1 million,
yeah.
and that was
Yeah.
back in 2008.
Right.
And
Right.
he's made
Right.
a boatload of money more than that now. And so, and I think some of that, some of this was, also COVID related, not the lockdown related. Let me tell you this too. I mean, I think a lot of folks, got a little bit too into themselves because we were so separated. And it just seems like coming out of COVID, some of these people who we thought were on our side are showing their true colors,
Yeah.
especially, since the election results from last fall. So
You had the WNBA All Star game this weekend, and you saw that when they're coming out, they were protesting. They had on those T-shirts, I believe, hold up a sign, "Pay us what you owe us." And you got all these people who are 3-year fans, only been watching the WNBA for the past 3 years, and it happens every time, where all of these people start saying that these girls are getting a bad deal, saying that they need to be paid more. I'm looking at this particular site. Somebody said, well, they only get 9% of the revenue. I said, no, that's not true. Right now, they get 25%. Also, last year, the WNBA lost $40 million. They had never been in the black. But this year, with the new deal that they have, with Paramount, it's with Paramount or Disney, whoever it is that they got this new deal with, because NBC's back on
yeah,
board, because they
Peacock.
got George,
Yeah.
Peacock, yeah. So with this new deal, it's going to probably bring them in $1 billion this year. Okay, now we need to see about for next year raising the amount that they receive. I say they should go from 25% to 45%. And then once the WNBA has been in the black for 2 years, then they go to 50%. That's the way I look at it and getting it done. But most of these people don't even know what's going on. And I think with the WNBA, those girls doing that, I think it could hurt. I know they want to be paid fair, but pay what you owe us. No, you've been in the black. You've been in the red. You haven't turned a profit. So you're getting paid what you owe. $200 million is what they brought in. All right. World Global for women's basketball is over 700 million. So it's not saying that it won't happen, but all these people that are, taking their side and bashing NBA that don't know the numbers and all that, I keep coming back to this. Watch other WNBA games besides the Indiana Fever. Help improve the revenue by being involved in the entire league, giving support to the entire league. Because right now they are getting paid and they are in the middle of a collective bargaining agreement, the discussions for the new CBA. But that paying what you owe us, I didn't like that. I thought it was saying something that is extremely misleading. It's like if they're not trying to make this happen for the girls. And I had a problem with that.
Well, I agree with your sentiment about the economics of it. I mean, I agree that they haven't been paid because there's been no money to pay them. So I do agree with you there. I didn't have a problem with their message. I just think that they're trying to while it's misleading because again it makes it sound like money's been kept away from them
That's my point.
that they should be getting.
Yeah,
I understand that. I understand
yeah.
that. But I think they want to get the public behind them. And so, whenever you can kind of make it sound like people owe you something, it was probably not the best term. Not term. It didn't bother me so much, but I see your point, and I agree with your point because I used to say the same thing. I said the same thing about the soccer, the women's
Now the
soccer.
soccer, the soccer women were making more money. They were bringing in more money than the men's
Yeah,
team.
no, I understand.
Yeah.
I do get that. I do get that. I do get
Woo,
that.
yeah,
I do
yeah.
get that. But but well, it didn't bother me. But your point is well taken. I mean, it's you're absolutely, as far as I know, absolutely correct. There was just no money. They haven't made money.
Yeah,
And that's why a lot
yeah.
of teams, some of the teams that are no longer around today, like Sacramento and some others, Houston Comets, who were champions for perennial champions for a while, are no longer around because they weren't making any money.
Weren't making any money,
And
but
the teams were, if I'm not mistaken, the NBA franchise in that city were footing that bill.
right.
So
That's
and
yeah.
that's
The
how that was
Houston
doing.
Rockets were footing that bill, and that's the way it's been.
Yeah.
But really, when I'm looking at all of that, and like I said, I love the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
When they did that, it's like, okay, I'm a long-term fan. I'm a long-time fan.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to say something like, once again, that's embellishing. That's making it seem like they are doing you wrong, like they're holding money back. I'm a fan of yours. I want you to get paid.
Well,
But
maybe they meant it. Maybe they meant it that pay us what you owe us after we finish this upcoming deal.
well,
Don't short us on this upcoming deal.
right.
I mean, I do agree with you that they.
Well, that could be the case. If that's what the way it is, and that's
Yeah.
I say, okay, I can see that, and I will apologize. But the way they presented it,
No,
for
you don't
me,
have to like it.
somebody,
Don't
yeah,
apologize. You don't
I'm a
have to like it.
fan. I'm a like, yo, hold up, you're biting the hand that feeds you, in my opinion. That's the way I felt about it. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping that with this new CBA, especially with the revenue bringing in $1 billion, which made it so that you can bring in these new franchises and expand the league. I hope they get like 45%. If they get 50% and they
Yeah.
agree to it, I'm happy with
Yeah.
that.
No, I would love for them. I would love for them
Yeah,
to get paid. Unfortunately, but we'll have to see how it works out
right.
because I still, me being like you, I mean, I've been watching them since I think '96 is when the league started or something. I mean, I've been watching it.
Yeah,
I like the sport. However, I know no one else does. In relative terms, I know no one
yeah,
follows them, and I also
yeah,
know that Caitlin Clark while she brought a lot of attention to the league, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and their whole little, their rivalry, and then also just the hype behind them. Those are going to wear off.
Well, it's already wearing
Yeah,
off.
it's already wear off.
Yeah, yeah. Look.
So
They
I
talk
don't know
about
whether
jersey.
it's going to sustain. That's my thing. I don't know if it's going to sustain because
Right,
you have to really love basketball, I
right.
think, to get into watching the WNBA or have a woman, female athlete who plays. You have to really love the sport to
Right.
watch it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so I
yeah.
don't know whether we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Well, that's why I'm always talking about, people talking about viewerships up, jersey sales. I'm like, okay, that's all Caitlin Clark. If you
Right,
remove her from the equation,
right,
all of her fans and all those people, like I said, she doesn't play a season. Everything goes back to the way it was before she got into the league,
right.
and that's why I'm adamant about, please make sure you are showing more in the wheelhouse, because once again, there's no way in hell, if the viewership, tennis, and all this is up, there's no way in hell that Asia Wilson shouldn't have been the WNBA Player of the Year for the ESPYs. But it's not the case because it's like with Yao Ming. Yao Ming kept starting at center for the West in the All-Star game because everybody in China was voting for him.
Right.
So they had to change the format.
Right.
They had to change how they did. Fan vote this percentage, blah blah blah. They need to do that with the ESPYs because thinking that Caitlin Clark is better than Asia Wilson is damaging.
That's why I said. Well, see, I don't. That's why I said I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes because I don't know if they're going to get any traction. We'll see if they get traction because let me tell you something that I've noticed, and I think this is indicative of how closely the league is followed or whatever. Now, it just so happens that I like this player because I like Stanford. Cameron Brink, who was the number 2 draft choice behind Caitlin Clark, who got injured last year, injured her knee. She hasn't played. They thought she would play before it all started. She still hasn't played.
Right.
I've heard nobody at all say, where's Cameron Brink? Or when's Cameron Brink coming back? Right. This is the number 2 draft choice. Now, if there's not that type of curiosity, then I don't think we're there yet. I just don't.
That you're exactly right. And also, when I'm watching games, when I'm watching the Fever play, and they've been showing one of the games this past weekend, and I saw the game live, and they're playing Connecticut. I have to turn down the volume because Caitlin wasn't even the best player on her team. She's getting shut down.
Yeah.
Even in the championship game, South Carolina, they shut her down. Mm-hmm. She's not a player like a Juju Watkins who can make things happen.
Right.
But you can't get people to see that.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm like, she's not even the Bostic, and damn, what's my other girl on the team, the short guard. She is just like dynamite. But the bad.
You're talking about on
for the Fever.
Oh, Mitchell.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Man, look, it's a false sense of it's not. It's like when somebody gets 1 million views, but you got 600,000 of them bots or something of that nature. That's what we got right now in the WNBA. Right. All these numbers are just basically bots. It's not something that's real that you can see without Caitlin Clark. And like I said, if you watch the game, I turn down the volume because they hype her up. She can be 1 of 8, but they hype her up on that one shot she made. That's not good for the sport.
Yeah.
That's awful. That doesn't help. And I'm just hoping they get a deal in place. And I really want people just to start watching all of these players. And I tell you what was great this weekend with the WNBA All-Star Weekend. The way they followed them around on social media with all the parties and everything. That helps. And I think that helped people to really see, okay, there's some other people in the league. All right, okay, cool. And you know what else? Caitlin Clark is always trying to push the other people in the league.
Oh, yeah.
It's like her fans, they totally ignore her when she's saying these things.
Right.
She's about the sport.
Right.
She's about her. And Paige Buchers, people don't like her because she came out the box like that.
Right.
She's like, I'm down with, I'm especially with my UConn girls,
Right.
So I'm hoping that they get everything they want, but I really want those who say they are into the sport and they're about the sport, I want them to really take the time and understand all of the dynamics that are at play with all of this. Because just watch the entire league. Don't watch just Caitlin Clark. Watch the entire league.
Yeah.
But, anyway, my man, we're going to leave it there. We're going to let that be our chat for today. And so everybody, please take time and share this video. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. And as we sign off, this is my man, Howard.
Wait. I'm going to say one more thing.
Okay.
Trump needs to
hold on. Let me rewind, everybody.
Okay.
All right. Back to you, my man.
Trump needs to keep the name of my football team out of his mouth. That's all I'm saying. He needs to just leave that shit alone.
How can he block the deal? I'm trying to understand. And he said he's going to block the deal if they don't
I mean,
change the name
if
back.
somebody, and we don't want to get off on this, but I'm just saying, if there's any question
Yeah,
about this dude being a racist,
yeah,
it's like, damn, man, really?
yeah,
It's like, I'm gonna block this deal unless you change this name back to something offensive for some
yeah,
people. It's
yeah.
like, come on.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he's got to stick his nose in all that shit. But
yeah.
anyway,
All
that's my
right.
man Howard, people, and I'm Couch. Thanks for checking us out, and we will see you soon. Peace.